Hi guys, so I wanted to tell you guys the reason I no longer work for Uber Eats. I've been working for Uber Eats for like 2.5 years before I decided to quit. And I quit September of this year. And I'm just like, Uber Eats became really hectic for me to continue to work with them. I can't even tell you what happened and why it happened, but I just know it started to become hectic. I live in a hotspot zone where there's a whole lot of restaurants around me. And when I would go on the app, I would sit in front of my house because I knew it was going to go off. It was a hotspot. So I knew I was going to get orders. And I would find myself sitting in my car for 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes or so, and no orders would go through. So I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on? Why am I not getting any orders? So then I would drive off and say, well, let me drive around some and, and see if I can get something in a different area then. So I would do that. And so mind you, another 10, 15, 20 minutes is going by. And before you know it, it's an hour. And I'm just driving around. I'm like, wait a minute, why am I not getting any orders? Now, Uber Eats can hear you. They can hear you. And they can see you. So I would be like, Uber, why am I not getting any orders? And then as soon as I would say something like, well, you know what? Since nobody's giving me no orders, I'm going to go home. As soon as I say I'm going home, beep, 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 my phone's going off and there's orders. So I'm like, yo, Uber, stop playing. Stop playing with me. That was one of the reasons. They would have me driving around for hours. I'm wasting my time, my gas, and my energy, and you're not giving me no orders. So I'm like, that's unacceptable. I'm not playing these games. And then I would call. I would be like, oh, Uber, how come I'm not getting no orders? Oh, you may have to restart your app, or maybe, there's no Wi-Fi. I said, listen, I'm in good areas. My phone's working right. Nothing's wrong. Stop playing with me. Send me some orders and stop playing with me. I would be just like that. Send me some orders and stop playing with me. It ain't the app. It's you. I used to tell them, I said, y'all are unprofessional. I said, y'all are being very disrespectful. I don't like these games. And they would be like, oh, I'm sorry you're having these problems. I'm sorry you're feeling like that. And I would hang right up on them. Don't play with me. Another thing that was happening is the pay started to get worse. Now, when I first started with Uber, I can't front. The pay was great, okay? I was getting some money. I was making great tips. Oh, the tips were, oh God, the tips were bomb. I got a $50 tip one time, but for most of the parts, I would get $30 tips, $15 tips, $20 tips. My tips was the bomb. Sometimes the tips were bigger than the pay that Uber gave me. And I was like, hey, that's what's up. And I loved it. So the pay was good at one point in time. But then recently, the pay started to become like $1, $3. I started to almost not get no pay more than $3 sometimes. And then, like I said, they can hear you. And I would be like, Uber, yo, y'all playing with my money. I used to be like, I'm not going anywhere if the pay is less than $7. And I tell you no lie, I would be like, if you send me an order less than $7, I'm not taking it. And guess what? Because they can hear you. Beep, beep, beep. When I would get a beep and the order would come through, it'd be like for $8. It'd be like for $10 or whatever. So I'm like, stop playing with me. Stop playing with me. You're having me driving, wasting my time and my gas and everything. And then you're trying not to pay me. And I was like, I'm not about to be doing no $2 and $3 orders and you're sending me somewhere that's 30, 40, 50 minutes long. I'm not doing it. And then when I look, that's the pay. That's the pay on top of the tip. $2, $3. Like, yeah, the devil is a liar. I was like, no, you're not going to do that. And then one time out of the blue, they talking about we're going to do a background check. And I was all like, why would y'all do a background check when that's what y'all did when I first signed up with y'all? Why are y'all now doing a background check? And it was like, oh, it's part of the protocol or whatever. And I'm like, really? A background check out of nowhere, out of thin blue? Just a background check? They was like, oh, that's what we have to do or whatever. I was like, okay, fine. So, mind you, during the background check, you can't work. So, I was doing Instacart instead. You know, and I try to not do Instacart too much because I don't really like to go in the store to shop. So it takes more time and energy, but the pay is good. So I'm not going to lie, the pay is good. You know, you just got to do shopping. And sometimes I don't want to shop. That's why I stick to Uber Eats, because it's quicker, faster, and I get to go where I got to go and get off, and that's good. So I did Instacart until, you know, they was doing the background check. Now 5 days go by, because that's how long it's supposed to only take, 5 days or less. So I call, and I'm like, why am I still not able to get on the app? They're like, oh, we didn't do the background check. We're waiting to do the background check. I said, well, what are you waiting for? I'm thinking that you already doing the background check, and I'm waiting. I said, why is the background check not being done? They're like, oh, I thought Uber did it. I thought we did it. Oh, okay, we're going to do it. So I apologize. So they was like, okay, it'll be on within the next couple of days. So I said, okay, fine. Continue to do Instacart. Next couple of days go by, still nothing. I said, you know what? I'm not going to let them play with me, so I'm not even going to care. So I kept doing Instacart in my other apps, right? And I kept it moving. Then 30 days go by, and I try to get on the app, and nothing. And I'm like, what? So I said, let me call them and see what's going on. Why is it taking this long? What are you doing? So I called. They was all like, oh, the background check, we're still waiting for, you know, us to get a response from the people that they use as the background checker. I said, you know what? Deactivate my account. Deactivate it. I said, y'all playing with me. I said, so since y'all don't want me to work on here, I'm going to do y'all a favor. I'm going to deactivate my account. Oh, no. You'll be able to work. We just waiting for the people to, I said, deactivate my account. So they was all like, we're sorry to hear that. They was all like, we're going to transfer you to the people that do that for you. And I said, okay. And I hung up on their asses. Soon as I hung up on their asses or whatever, beep, I get an alert. Oh, your background check passed. You're able to get back on, you're able to get back on the app. I said, are you serious? So this is what y'all doing? So I gotta threaten y'all to be deactivated and in order for y'all to put my app back on? What's going on here? Why are y'all doing that? So, you know, I proceed to get back on the app or whatever, you know, and I'm doing my thing. But then also another thing that they was doing was one time, I could tell you no lie, I worked for like 8 hours. I worked for like 8 hours. And I made about $240. And I was all like, oh, okay. Right? Why, when I daggone get home and I'm checking my money and stuff like that, I only had $140. So I was all like, well, where's the rest of my money? So I called Uber Eats, and they was like, well, most of the money that you got were from tips. So you're going to have to wait for the rest of your tips to process. I said, okay, fine. So they was like, give it a day or two for all the tips to go through. I said, okay, that's fine. That's no problem. So some days go by, and then I was like, still no more money. So I'm like, I called them back. I said, Uber, what happened? I was like, I'm waiting for the rest of my money. Where's the rest of my money? And they was all like, well, you got your base pay from us or whatever, you know, so whatever money you didn't get, that was from the tips. That's because the tips didn't come through. They was like, well, maybe the people, you know, took their tips back or something like that, but we gave you your base pay. And I was all like, so you mean to tell me I was on this app for 8 hours and only got $140? I said, is that what you're trying to tell me? I said, so now y'all playing with my money? I said, okay. I was like, thank you. And from there on out, I never worked over 5 hours ever. I'm not giving you no more. I'm not doing it. Because I feel like I should have got even more for 8 hours. Because sometimes, like I said, the tips were great. And sometimes the tips would amass to more than what they were giving me. And I was getting great tips to where my tips was lovely. So I'm like, yeah, you will not ever get that from me again. That was another one. And this is the one, this is the big kicker here. Whenever I would go to the liquor store to pick up somebody's order and I would bring it to the people were not there. Now with those alcohol, when you're delivering alcohol to people, they got to present their ID and you have to scan it. and they also have to sign for the package. So I would get to the house, and I'm like, yeah, I'm looking for so-and-so, and I'm ringing. So I'm calling these people. I'm ringing their bell. You know, I'm knocking on the doors. I'm knocking on neighbors' doors. I'm looking for these people. And then I would get there, and the neighbor would go, this person doesn't live here. And I'm like, are you sure? I was like, I would be like, I'm from Uber Eats. I'm delivering this package, and this is the address they gave me. And they was like, yeah, but we don't know that person. And I'm like, what? So they were like, yeah, check with Uber Eats, because that's not the right person. Maybe it's a different address, but that person doesn't live here. So I would be like, what? So I would call Uber and I'm like, hey, Uber, you know, what's going on? And then they were like, oh, I'm sorry that you can't reach the people or whatever, but don't worry, you still get paid for this order. Just bring it back to the store and follow the protocols and you still get paid. I would be like, okay, fine. But I was like, no, this is unacceptable. This is some old fishy stuff. What's going on here? And then so I would bring it back to the store, and me and the store people are looking like, what happened? And I'm like, I don't know what happened. I'm like, I don't know. The people wasn't there. So now I have to return it. So I would follow the protocols, do what I got to do. Boom. And then I would get my money. But then I would also get a text talking about it is prohibited to commit fraud. Anybody doing fraudulent activity could have their account deactivated or could face, you know, fines and legal trouble. And I'm like, what? I'm like, what fraudulent activity was going on? What are you talking about? So I would call Uber, and I'm like, what are y'all doing? I'm like, I got a text that said XYZ, and they was all like, oh, that's because, you know, it's against the law to, do fraudulent activity and take alcohol beverages and stuff. I was so like, what alcohol beverages did I take? I said, you see the app? It's confirmed by me in the store. The picture's there. And what fraudulent activity did I do? I don't even drink. So what fraudulent activity would I be doing and committing? I'm not a fraudster. I'm not a scammer. I'm not a thief. I don't do illegal activities at all. So that was happening frequently. I was like, oh, wait a minute. I cannot know, because y'all are not about to put me in jail for things that I did not do. It's proof right here on this app. And the confirmation from the liquor store is letting you know I returned the product. I don't even drink. But even if I did, I wouldn't steal. Like, are you kidding me? And so that was one that was like, nah, those are red flags. Those are toxic behaviors. You're not about to, y'all trying to lock me up. Y'all trying to deactivate my account. Y'all trying to play games with me. This is my livelihood here. This is my life. I don't play like that. So if that's how you're going to do it, it's not going to be for me. I don't like it. So I stopped doing the alcohol runs. I said, well, I'm not about to do the liquor. So whenever somebody's, I'm calling in for liquor, I'm not doing it. So I'm bypassing it. And also I decided to not also do any Popeyes orders. Oh my goodness, because I cannot lie. It was chaotic in Popeye. I don't care what Popeyes they sent me to. I do not care. Any Popeyes that I would go to, it was such a crowd in there. Chaos like crazy. The people behind the counters would be overwhelmed, hot and sweaty. It would be hot in the stores. The store lines for the Uber Eats, DoorDashers, and Grubhubbers would be crazy. On top of the crazy line for people, just regular patrons buying, their food and for Popeyes. I'm like, y'all are that crazy for chicken? I said, that's crazy. I'm not doing it. And the wait would be beyond excessive. I'm not even gonna lie. And everybody's like, do you have an order for this person? You got an order for this person? You got an order for that person? And everybody's talking all at once. Everybody's trying to get their orders. The people behind the counters are getting aggravated. They like, stand back, get behind, stand back. It's one at a time. And they getting mad. Then they ignoring people when people are like, you got my order? Because they are so overwhelmed. They stressed out. I said, oh no. So I said, I'm not about to do no Popeyes orders anymore. And so I would be like, so whenever they would send me a Popeye order, I would just let it go by. I wouldn't reject it. I would just let it go by. I'm like, I'm not taking that order. I don't want that. I'm not dealing with the chaos. 20 minutes tops is what I wait for food. And if it's more than 20 minutes, I ain't waiting any more longer than that. And then when they would see that I wouldn't take the order, they would send me a double or triple order. And I'd be like, oh, okay. And I would take it. But because on the double, triple order, you can't see the second restaurant. You only see the first restaurant, but you can see that it's a double or triple order. The only way you can see that it's the other restaurant is if you look at the 3 lines that they have, and then you press it and you can see the other restaurant you're about to go to. Or if you just wait till you get to the restaurant, pick up that order, confirm it, and then the other order will come through. But I would be seeing that whatever order they saw I didn't want to take, they would put it into the double or triple order. So then, whenever I would see Popeyes, now I done let Popeyes go by. Then I put Popeyes on my app about 2 or 3 times, and I'm like, I'm not taking no Popeyes. Y'all already know this. And then when I would get to the triple order or the double order, I would look and the Popeyes would be under the order, and I'm like, you know what? I would go pick up the first order. And then when they would put Popeyes back up there, I would cancel that order and drop off the first order and call it a day. Like, you're not making me do orders I don't want to do. I don't want to do Popeyes because it's too chaotic. It's crazy. I'm not doing that. So they kept doing that. And then that was whenever I would find that I was like, well, I don't want to do Popeyes, and I would cancel that order. Then I would find myself waiting 20, 30 minutes, 40 minutes for an order to come through. And I'm like, okay, so since I started seeing they doing that, I was like, you know what, I'm going home. And anytime I would say I'm going home and I would start driving towards my home, then I kept getting orders. And then I would shut the app off and go on about my day. Because you're not playing with me. Because Ubers began to be disrespectful. It was unethical, unprofessional, and it was like, you're playing with my money. You're not going to force me to do an order I just rejected or I just decided I didn't want to take. You're not going to force me to do it. And then if I don't do the order, you don't give me any more orders. And then when I say, hey, I'm going home, then you give me another order when you hear me telling you I'm going home. I was like, you know what? This ain't going to work for me. This is not going to work for me. This is like I'm in a toxic relationship. This is toxicity. I'm like, oh, no. I'll stick to Instacart and my other, things that I do. And so when it was time for them to renew my insurance, I said no, and I deactivated it. I no longer want to deal with them anymore because they was playing with me. And I don't let people play with me. This is my livelihood. This is not a game. This is not a joke. And this is one form of how I eat and how I provide for my household. And you are playing with that. And since you want to, play around and then all this stuff, you're not sending me any orders, or you're sending me orders I don't want, and you keep sending them over. You did a damn 30-day background check out of nowhere. I couldn't get on the app for 30 days. Then you keep sending me fraud alerts whenever I would do an alcohol run. And then when I would go to the people house, they weren't there. So I believe that y'all was, conjuring up fake orders. I believe Uber did that. It wasn't a real person, a real order. That's how come the people didn't know, who the product belonged to. And then I'm like, what? And then I would have to return it. I still got paid. But it was just the fact of, and then when you're doing that, they pause your app. So you can't take no more orders when you have to return it. And then when I would also return it, and then it would still be on pause. And I'm like, why is my app not getting any beeps? And because they paused my app, and then I would have to call them for them to unpause it to send me more orders. And I'm like, why are y'all playing with my money like that? So that became the reason. I was like, nah, y'all playing too much. Y'all playing too much. Y'all are playing too much with people's time, money, energy. And I'm not about to do it. I'm not about to beg nobody. I feel like I was begging. I feel like, I was like, oh no. Then I started to get high blood pressure and headaches. I would go to the, I had a doctor's appointment. Excuse me. And I wound up having high blood pressure. And they was like, are you under any stress and everything? And I was like, yeah, driving for Uber. And then what I would do from time to time after my doctor said it, she was like, well, we're going to monitor it or whatever and keep monitoring it. So what I wound up doing was, let me go to, you know, Stop and Shop would have those places where you can, those things where you could take your blood pressure. So I would sometimes take my blood pressure while I would be on a break or whatever, you know, from Uber, and then I would go and my blood pressure would be sky high. And I'm like, oh, heck no. I was like, oh no, I ain't ever had to worry about this before in my life. And now all of a sudden, I was like, no, bro, we're not about to have that. So if you starting to cause me to have high blood pressure, headaches, and then you're messing with my money, and you're playing around with the app, and you're doing these background checks out of nowhere, and I can't even use the app while it's doing it, it's about time for me to go. It's a clear telltale sign that you don't want to work. You don't want me working for your app, for your company, and I'm fine with it because God is my provider anyway. He's my source anyway. So I clearly was like, okay, and I left. Like, I'm not going to be begging and breaking my neck and bending over backwards for no dollar. And then then I wasn't even able to make $100. And I would be on this app for hours and couldn't make $100. Nah, that's how bad it got with me. So that's my story, and that's why I quit. So I just am curious, is anybody else having that problem with Uber? Did anybody else have that problem or experiencing any of those things that I just mentioned? Because that's really why I left, because again, I liked it. I can't even front. It was cool. It was chill. It was an easy job. And the money really was there at a point. But then for me, I don't know. Is anybody else experiencing that? The money declined. The money became like, ooh, I was like, ooh, we ain't getting no money like that? It's getting harder for me to make $100? I was all like, and then I'm on this daggone app for hours, and then y'all are playing around with giving me no orders, so y'all are making it to where I have to stay out longer than I want to because y'all done daggone had me, you know, without no orders for like 20, 30, 40, 50 minutes. So now I'm trying to make up for that time that y'all didn't give me no daggone orders. Like, nah, y'all ain't about to have me go out past the time I want to be in. I'm not about to be stressed out, overwhelmed, anxious, having headaches, experiencing health issues because of you guys. The devil is a damn lie. A damn lie. You bugging. But I'm just curious, does anybody else have that problem with Uber Eats? Because it was Uber Eats, okay? Uber Eats. Did anybody else have that problem with Uber Eats? Or was it just me? But I'm curious to hear your comments in the, you know, in the comment section. So comment, like, and share. And you guys have a blessed day, okay? I'm finished taking out these braids. But until next time.